Chidoze, and if you don't know, food additives are everywhere. It's in almost everything we eat, and you can pretty much get food anywhere, on campus, around campus, as well else. If you never have, I'm pretty sure you all have, read the back of the food label where the nutrition facts are. You see a list of ingredients, and most people probably don't know that half of these are food additives and could be dangerous to your health and other factors. So my main claim is that food additives / preservatives have a negative effect on people. First, I need to tell you what a food additive is. According to Section 201 of the FD&C Act, a food additive is any substance that is intended to change the characteristic of any food, whether by taste, color, or texture, to make it more appetizing or appealing to the consumer. My secondary claim is that food using additives can cause harm to your human health. According to the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, foods such as salt that contains additives such as sulfites, aspartame, parabens can lead to asthma, and in some cases ADHD and cancer. Most likely, during pregnancy, if you consume any of these food additives, it heightens the risk of the unborn fetus or child to develop ADHD at birth. In an article done by Dr. Eve Allen, she has a PhD. She's also the director of Circle of Health Wellness Center. She also said that she also proves that the child can be born with ADHD. The second effect that a food additive may have is on your social life. Did you know that 33.8% of adults in America today are obese? 17% of children and adolescents that range from years 2 to 19 are also obese. Obesity increases the risk of developing diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and also high blood pressure and arthritis. The food additive that most likely will lead to obesity is MSG, and MSG is most commonly found in Chinese food, so that's why they call it the CRS, Chinese Restaurant Syndrome. Because they add MSG to all their food to make it taste better, you're more likely to eat more at a faster pace. And at the Fitness Weight Loss Center, they said that when you eat food, to keep a healthy portion, you have to eat it slow, so you digest it, and you'll know that you're full with a lesser amount. Because of the MSG, you're gonna eat it faster. You're not gonna know whether you're full until you're ready to burst. Obesity, according to some psychologists, leads to depression or low self-esteem. So, sometimes you see it, when somebody's obese, you don't see them playing sports most of the time. You see them after school, want to go home, want to, play video games, eat some Chidoze. I know, because I used to do that. But, yeah, so I hope I've been able to convince you that the negative effects of food additives can affect people, including all of them.
All right, we generally know what the subject area is, although you need to be a little bit clear at the beginning of the speech when you first introduce it because you are rushing a little bit. And I thought the first 2 times you said it that you said food items, and it wasn't until the 3rd time you said it that I realized you were saying food additives. So you need to speak up, you need to look out a little bit, you need to project. You're doing a little too much reading and internalizing at the beginning. You want to be clear, especially at the beginning, what the controversy is about. So you identify the subject area. there's not really a preview of what the supporting points are. You've got one point, basically, and you're linking it to these health issues. But I think you need to organize that point a little bit more. You need to show, for instance, that the food additives produce cause the link that you're talking about to obesity, and then obesity produces the harm that you're talking about, and therefore, ultimately, it's the responsibility of the food additives. If that's the way you're going to go, then that link needs to be a lot clearer. The problem is that they're not, the points that you present and the evidence you present are not always connected that way. So, for instance, I got information about some food additives that have some general risks. I got a quote that talks about a whole variety of potential problems that can come with these food additives, but it's not very clear what that's based on or how they reach that conclusion. And the source that you give, I didn't think was all that, you're not emphasizing it enough. And then when you do quote an authority, instead of quoting them directly, it sounds like you're paraphrasing what they said, and you want to make sure that, that you use direct quotes. Then you get to the issue of obesity, and I'm wondering, well, how is obesity connected to these food additives? And you say it's primarily MSG. So, unless you eat at a Chinese restaurant, nobody's going to be suffering from these food additives. It's only people who eat at Chinese restaurants that are going to become obese based on the food additive problem. I think that's an awfully big inference to be making, and it's unlikely that 38% of the country is eating often enough at Chinese restaurants to get that fat. That seems like it's a bit of a stretch. The CRS, Chinese Restaurant Syndrome, I've heard of that before. I never heard it referred to in relationship to obesity. I'd always heard it referred to in relationship to headaches and blackouts that people had. So that's a little bit different news to me. The idea that people eat faster, I think that's an interesting one. Of course, if they're using chopsticks, that should slow them down a little bit, at least if they're Americans eating with chopsticks. And I think you can, like I said, I think you can project your voice a little bit more. At the end, you make an argument about obesity causing depression. You said you're unlikely to play sports, you're going to play video games and Chidoze. And I'm wondering what's so depressing about video games and Chidoze. I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who think that sounds like a good afternoon. In fact, it cheers them up just the thought that when they get out of class tonight, they can go home and play World of Warcraft and eat some Chidoze. All right. So you need to add a little bit more to it. All right. Thank you. And it appears